Did Ant-Man and the Wasp and the Quantumania live up to his expectations? I'm gonna give it to you here right now. This is Garrick Jordan, and welcome to the Tuna Fish Special Podcast. If this is your first time here, my name is Garrick Jordan. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Is this your first time here? Please hit the subscribe button at the bottom. Let's get into this. So this video will have spoiler in this because it came out Friday. This is a Monday that I'm recording it on. I had to have time to digest what I seen and talk to a couple of my fellow YouTube buddies and see what they thought about this movie, and I had to give my own assessment to it, so I had to let it digest for a minute. Give you a brief synopsis of this movie. I'm gonna give you the good and the bad of it. Let's get into it. So Scott Lang and the Ant family managed to get back down to the quantum realm, and down there he finds out that there's another world underneath the world that we in right now. Down in that universe, that universe is conquered by a tyrant by the name of Kang the Conqueror. And Kang is supposed to be the big bad, the new big bad for Marvel Universe. The new person that's gonna extend the universe, the new threat. And let's just talk about the good and the bad and the ugly, shall we? Now, the good. The good of this film is Jonathan Majors. He did not disappoint at all, which I knew. Following his work, I knew he was gonna do an amazing job. I had no doubt in my mind that he was gonna do great. Bravo. That he was Kang the Conqueror, and he did an amazing job doing that. Paul Rudd did an amazing job too. Never lets me down. Michelle Pfeiffer had a little bit more to do in this film, and she was amazing in this movie as always. The girl that played Cassie, I can't remember the actress name, but she did a fairly good job. I see what they're doing with her, and I see how they're gonna set her up with this. Good job. Michael Douglas didn't really do too much in this, good job or not, but he was decent. Overall, the good of this movie was Jonathan Majors. He was a standout performance. He definitely held his own in this movie. I don't think this movie would have been as good as it was without him being in there. The story, the first two acts of the film was good. The third one was a little, we're going to get into that later. The quantum realm itself, the visual effects of the realm was fairly decent. There was some CGI in here that was a little whatever, but I think this film failed at the third act. That's really where it came down, where it started out being something what it was, and then it became something else. So let's get into the bad. That third act was terrible. It wasn't terrible. It was more like, they could have went a different way with it. I've heard people gripes about it that the stakes could have been higher. There could have been a lot more on the line with this film because this was supposed to be this next big epic thing, because this is launching phase 5 of the MCU, and you wanna come in guns running, because phase 4 not so great. Other than Spider-Man No Way Home, they didn't really have too much to offer. So you want to come in. You want to hit us hard, and with Kang, that's what I was hoping for. Although Jonathan Majors did well, his character did fall short in this film, and I'm gonna give it to you why. So the bad of it, the inconsistency of the story, some of the characters. Bill Murray made a special guest in there, and he phoned it in on his performance. His performance was not great, even though his character in the comic book is amazing. And I don't know if he's gonna come back and do something else or do something different with it. Let's hope for the best. Some of the characters and some of the quantum people it was a little, whatever. And some of the CGI in the movie wasn't that great neither. Like I said, the film first act was good, second act was good, third act not so well, and we're gonna get into that. So Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania. Oh yeah, and another thing, the Wasp, the character of the Wasp, Evelyn Lilly, she didn't really have much to do in this film at all. Her and Michael Douglas kind of like sunk in this film, and it really sucked. because I just like, okay, all of them in there, give them a little something. This movie was strictly focused on Kang the Conqueror and Michelle Pfeiffer's character in that film. Ant-Man was in there and the daughter in there. They had their scenes, but really it was just more so driven about her past into the quantum realm. Now we're finna get into spoilers. You've been warned. From, you know, in pre-Endgame, post-Endgame, and he wrote a book. It's doing successful. He living his life. He really not really giving a shit about this Ant-Man stuff anymore. And his daughter has become a social justice warrior, and she wants to be a superhero. She has been secretly taking the suit and using it for the wrong reasons. Shrinking cop cars, I don't think that justify anything. Anyway, her and Michael Douglas, Hank, I can't pronounce his last name. They've been working on a project without Michelle Pfeiffer's character approval. They've been working on it, and they showed all of them what they've been working on, and then they end up going into the quantum realm, and then that's when that's where you get the backstory of Michelle Pfeiffer, of her time being in the quantum realm, how she was able to meet up with Kang, how she was able to get around Kang and get to see who he really is, and that's where the story kicks off of. Now, I like that aspect of the film. The first half of it is them outside of the world. Then they enter in the quantum realm, and then you get to meet the people. The second act is you get to figure out who Kang really is and what he's all about. He's a conqueror who's been around for 31 centuries, and there's many variants of him, as we all know. If any of you watch Loki at the end of season 1, you should know about Kang. This is the variant that got kicked out from all the other variants because he was too loco. He was crazy. He was out of his mind. And you get to see why. Because he said the reason they kicked him out is because he has seen the end of the timeline, and he's seen what others have not seen, and that's why he's taking control and conquering other universes and other timelines. And basically, if you don't comply, he's gonna destroy you. Yeah. So the third act, we get to Ant-Man arrangement. He kidnapped his daughter. If he do what Kang asked him to do, which is to get him this orbit, which Michelle Pfeiffer character destroyed it, but that's a thing in there that can put it back together. And he told Ant-Man, if you can get this for me, you get your daughter. He reneged on their deal, and Ant-Man goes back into full beast mode and try to get back at Kang. And somehow, some way, Ant-Man managed to destroy Kang's army and beat him up, and the little world, the quantum world, end up revolting, and they join him and stuff like that. That's where the movie fell short, because I see what people are griping about. If Kang the Conqueror, if he a conqueror who's been around for centuries, this dude done conquered universes, worlds, he done beat other Avengers. There's no way Ant-Man could take him. But that's why I was arguing with people towards the end when they was going hand to hand. It wasn't like Ant-Man was handing him his ass. Kang was beating the shit out of him. It took the Wasp to help him out. And that's why I was saying that, yes, he did get defeated by a bunch of ants in the fight. But I think people don't understand. I think what they're trying to do is introduce Kang. This was a Kang-driven movie. It really wasn't an Ant-Man film. This was all about Kang. It really wasn't an Ant-Man movie. It was all Kang. I think if Kang wasn't in there, I think we would have got a very shitty version of Ant-Man movie. Let's talk about MODOK. MODOK, CGI in this movie was fucking terrible. I think they did what they could do. If you look at the comic books and look how MODOK look, that's as close as we did. I don't think MODOK is the guy that played the Yellow Jack in the first Ant-Man movie. I don't think that was him. He came back and played MODOK. Wanted to get revenge for them sinking him into the quantum realm. I don't think that's how that story goes. MODOK is an assassin in the comic books. He's a brutal assassin. I think they fucked up by unmasking him and letting us know that this is Darren from the first film. You know what I'm saying? So I think they dropped the ball with it a lot. I had a huge issue with him being MODOK. And then the humor. The humor in the movie, it's an Ant-Man movie. I expected humor. I expected very corny humor at that. I wasn't too messed up off of it. I didn't laugh at him. I think some of them was too much. Like, there's a scene where Cassie and Darren is on the ground and he's telling her, like, I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. But I'm a dick. I can't help it. I'm a dick. I thought that was pretty corny and stupid. I was like, all right, whatever. And then at the end of the movie, they all make it out safe and sound, and they destroy Kane. So they showed that they destroyed Kane. And the post-credit scenes, you see the other Kanes in another universe town saying that bad Kane gets gone, and then you see a bunch of Kanes coming out, and I think that's what's gonna lead up to Avengers Kane Dynasty. And then you see another post-credit scene where it's Loki, and they're looking at an older version of Kane, which is real nice. Nathaniel Richards. Hence, he's a long descendant of Reed Richards. He's a distant relative of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. So hopefully they add that in there. Listen, I didn't think this movie was perfect. I didn't go in with high expectations. I just wanted to see something that I can enjoy and get entertained. And it's been a long time since the MCU done that for me in the theater. The television show, the only thing that landed with me was Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight, and I got a personal relationship with Moon Knight because he's one of my favorite characters from the Marvel comics. But overall, the movies haven't been landing with me other than No Way Home, which that one was spectacular. Thor was terrible. This one is, to me, this movie is a 6 out of 10. It's not perfect. I didn't get here with high expectations like every people was looking too deep in it because they was going off the epic story, and it looked that way. But I can't forget who the character is. It's Ant-Man movie. You got to see how they play this whole phase out. That's why I'm telling people, like, don't just go off on just. Hey, it was a 6.5 out of 10 for me. Wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I didn't think too much of it. So yeah. It wasn't perfect, but it was enjoyable, and I wouldn't mind seeing on it. Take it for what it is. I know you've seen a bunch of other people reviews, but this is my take on it. I think it deserves a watch. If you're a Marvel fan, no, there's a lot of things in there that's not right, but it's fairly decent. It just depends on. It's an Ant-Man movie. I went into every Ant-Man film and didn't have high expectations from him because he's not a favorite character of mine. You know, and yeah, it's a Marvel thing and it's a comic book thing, and I'm a comic book enthusiast, but he was never one of my favorite. More reviews from the Tuna Fish Special Podcast, and we're out.